Code Blue Faith. Treat the promise like it's still alive. There is a language spoken inside hospitals that most people never hear. A language made up of codes. Walk through the halls of a hospital, nursing facility, prison infirmary, or emergency room long enough and you'll hear them. Code red, fire. Something is burning, smoke is spreading, lives may be in danger. Code silver. An armed individual, a weapon, an immediate threat to safety. Code yellow. Disaster, mass casualty event, an emergency larger than normal resources can handle. Code purple. In many facilities, a missing child or infant abduction. Someone precious cannot be found. Code green. Evacuation. Leave now. Move immediately. Healthcare has dozens of codes. Each one means something important. Each one demands a response. But there is one code that changes the atmosphere faster than all the others. The moment those two words echo through the speakers, conversations stop, lunch breaks stop, meetings stop, chatting stops. People begin moving fast because everyone understands exactly what it means. A heart may have stopped beating. Breathing may have stopped. A family may be moments away from receiving the worst phone call of their lives. A life may be hanging in the balance, and suddenly everything else becomes secondary. Because when code blue is called, seconds matter. Every second, every decision, every action. Nobody responds casually to a code blue. Nobody says, I'll get there tomorrow. Nobody says, I'm too busy. Nobody says, maybe next week. People run. Because as long as life remains possible, we respond. And perhaps that is the first hidden principle. What we believe is alive receives our attention. What we believe is dead gets abandoned. That principle doesn't just apply to hospitals. It applies to dreams, marriages, businesses, families, ministries, callings, and faith. Because the moment we decide something is dead, we stop responding to it. We stop investing in it. We stop praying for it. We stop showing up for it. We stop fighting for it. Eventually, we walk away. Not necessarily because it died, but because we believed it died, and that belief changed our behavior. Most people don't realize that before a medical emergency ever happens, many patients make one of the most important decisions of their lives. It's called a code status. Some choose full code, others choose DNR, do not resuscitate. An advance directive is completed while the patient is still capable of making decisions. It answers one question: if my heart stops, what do I want done? Some choose comfort measures only. No CPR, no chest compressions, no breathing tube, no defibrillator, no aggressive interventions. Only comfort, dignity, pain management. Allow nature to take its course. Others choose full code. And full code changes everything. Because if their heart stops, a chain reaction begins. Chest compressions, emergency medications, airway management, defibrillation, everything possible. Why? Because the patient has already declared, fight for me. Do not give up on me. Treat me like recovery is still possible. Treat me like hope remains. And one day I realized something. Many people have placed DNR orders on their lives, not medically, spiritually, emotionally, mentally. They've placed DNR orders on dreams God never declared dead, DNR on marriages, DNR on ministries, DNR on businesses, DNR on relationships, DNR on purpose, DNR on healing, DNR on faith. They stopped praying, stopped expecting, stopped believing, stopped showing up, and then wondered why nothing changed. Faith behaves differently. Faith is full code. Faith says, keep believing, keep praying, keep trusting, keep showing up, because hope remains. As a CPR instructor, one of the most fascinating things I've observed is that cardiac arrest can be deceptive. A person may have no pulse, no breathing, no response, no movement. To the untrained eye, it can appear hopeless. Family members often assume everything is over, but healthcare providers know something important. Until the responsible physician pronounces death, the patient remains a full code patient. And full code means we continue. Chest compressions continue. Breaths continue. Defibrillation continues. Medications continue. Hope continues. Because nobody in that room has authority to declare the final outcome except the physician responsible for that patient. A nurse cannot sign the death certificate. A CNA cannot sign the death certificate. Family cannot sign the death certificate. Visitors cannot sign the death certificate. Only the physician can make that declaration. And spiritually speaking, I wonder how many people have signed death certificates that God never signed. How many dreams have we buried that heaven never buried? How many promises have we abandoned that God never abandoned? How many prayers have we stopped praying because we declared dead what God never declared dead? I remember teaching CPR one day when one of the managers suddenly rushed into the classroom. Her voice carried urgency. A patient is choking. Immediately, we headed toward the unit. By the time I arrived, the nurse supervisor had already removed the obstruction. The patient was breathing again. Later, she told me something that stayed with me. She said, "I had just read your book CPR Made Simple. When the patient started choking, I remembered exactly what you taught." Then she said, "The way you explained it gave me confidence to act." Think about that. The emergency didn't create confidence. The confidence already existed before the emergency arrived. The crisis simply revealed what had already been planted. Faith works exactly the same way. Most people want faith after the diagnosis, after the storm, after the betrayal, after the layoff, after the loss. But God develops faith before the emergency arrives, before the diagnosis, before the crisis, before the code blue, before the tomb. Noah understood this. Imagine spending decades building an ark when nobody had ever seen rain. Every nail, every hammer strike, every board, full code. Abraham understood this. His body was old. Sarah was old. Everything suggested impossibility. Yet Abraham continued preparing for a future he could not see. Full code. Joseph understood this. The dream entered a pit, then slavery, then prison. Every visible sign suggested the promise had died. Yet Joseph refused to sign a death certificate. Full code. David understood this. Anointed king, then hunted like an animal, living in caves, running for his life. The circumstances screamed failure. David responded full code. Then there was Martha, standing outside her brother's tomb, 4 days dead, not 4 minutes, not 4 hours, 4 days. The funeral was over. The mourners had gone home. The stone was sealed. Decomposition had begun. Every visible fact pointed toward one conclusion: dead, finished, over. Yet Martha uttered 2 words that continue to shake me. Even now, not before the funeral, after the funeral, not before the tomb, standing in front of the tomb, even now. That is full code faith. There is another medical term that fascinates me: rigor mortis. Rigor mortis is the stiffening of muscles after death. When circulation stops and oxygen disappears, chemical changes begin occurring inside the muscles. Gradually, the body becomes rigid, fixed, stiff, immobile. Historically, rigor mortis has been one of the signs used to confirm death. Yet when God took Ezekiel into the valley, He didn't show him sick bones. He didn't show him injured bones. He didn't show him bones needing therapy. He showed him dry bones. Past rigor mortis, past recovery, past human explanation, past medical intervention. And then God asked a ridiculous question. Son of man, can these bones live? Can a dead dream live? Can a broken marriage live? Can a failed business live? Can a shattered future live? Can a dead promise live? Notice something remarkable. God never explained how. God never gave Ezekiel a lesson in resurrection science. God never explained the mechanism. He simply said, speak, believe, obey. Treat the promise like it's still alive. Leave the resurrection to me. Then Jesus arrived at Jairus' house. People were already crying. Professional mourners were already there. The atmosphere had accepted death. Jesus walked into the room and made an outrageous statement. The child is not dead, but sleeping. And they laughed. Why? Because facts and faith often see the same situation differently. Facts describe. Faith interprets. Facts tell you what is. Faith reminds you what can be. Facts saw a funeral. Faith saw a miracle. And before long, that little girl was walking again. Because heaven had not signed the death certificate. Maybe that's where someone finds themselves today. Looking at something that appears dead. A dream, a ministry, a relationship, a calling, a business, a future. Maybe everybody around you has already buried it. Maybe they've moved on. Maybe they've accepted defeat. Maybe they've planned life without it. But heaven is asking one question. Have you declared DNR, or are you still full code? Because faith refuses to bury what God still intends to resurrect. Faith refuses to sign a death certificate before God does. Faith refuses to call finished what God still calls possible. The world may see rigor mortis. The world may see a tomb. The world may see dry bones. The world may see a dead dream. But until the great physician signs the death certificate, faith remains full code. Keep praying. Keep believing. Keep trusting. Keep standing. Keep showing up. Because God has the final signature. And as long as God has not spoken the final word, hope remains. And where hope remains, faith responds. Code blue, full code. Fight for it. Pray for it. Believe for it. Stand for it. Treat the promise like it's still alive.